I normally avoid politics on my channel, and that's by design. Politics or social issues with a political flavor to them, if you will. It's kind of hard for politics not to be involved in things there lately. But after what happened at the Capitol at the beginning of January, which a lot of people say it was a coup attempt. That wasn't bull. That was not a coup. That was not a coup attempt. That was a bunch of bozos with no apparent plan. I would imagine most of them just got caught up in the emotion of the moment, and then once they actually got in there, they were like, "You know what? That was not a coup attempt." But it does fit in with the, I guess, the division that we're feeling in this country right now. I know I get a lot of people from other countries and stuff, but I'm obviously going to be speaking about this from an American perspective. But I wanted to tell a story. It's not my story, but I think it is a story that needs to be told. It's been around for a while, but I've never seen it really reach a wide audience. And I just wanted to go ahead and pass this story along. It's actually the story of from Frank Gifford. Now, if you don't know who Frank Gifford is, he was a professional football player. I believe his career spanned from through the 50s and into the 60s, and you may be more familiar with him as a commentator. Came in, I believe, in the second season of Monday Night Football, and was there for almost 30 years. He, I think, 97, I think. So from like 1971, I believe, to 1997, he was there as a play-by-play announcer on Monday Night Football. It was a game on Monday Night Football is where this story actually stems from. It was 1979. I believe it was in Los Angeles. And of course, over the years, it wasn't unusual for them to bring celebrities in, particularly when they were in either California or New York. If Monday Night Football was in someplace like Pittsburgh, they probably weren't going to have a lot of celebrities running around. But this was in Los Angeles, and they actually had an interview scheduled with Ronald Reagan, which was only about 4 years removed from Reagan having been governor of California. And it was the day before Reagan announced his he was going to run for president in 1980. And that was already set up. Reagan was going to come in, they were going to have a brief interview. Well, after the game started, one of the assistants with Monday Night Football came in, and they went to Gifford, and they said, "Hey, we just found out John Lennon is in the stadium. Do you want to see if we can get him to come in and do an interview?" Gifford was like, "Of course, that would be great." Which at this point it had been about 10 years since the Beatles had broke up, and I was pretty young at the time. But I remember there was constantly talk of a Beatles reunion. They were going to get back together. They were going to have a concert. But of course, if John Lennon's, you say, "Yeah, sure, that'd be great." Well, after the assistant left, Gifford thought about it for a second, and he's like, "Oh no. We're going to have John Lennon and Ronald Reagan in the same room at the same time." John Lennon, who is less than a decade removed from doing protest songs, and once, I don't remember exactly when that was, but he made the comment that the Beatles were more popular than Jesus, and that raised quite a stink, and got him coming in, and we're going to have Ronald Reagan standing there, who is, God and country and bled red, white, and blue, and And at least the public perception, at the very least, was that you didn't get much farther left than John Lennon, you didn't get much farther right than Ronald Reagan, without getting into the nutcases, the extremists. And so now he's thinking, I hope maybe Lennon will say no. Maybe Lennon will just say no because he's kind of a private guy. He hasn't been very public lately. And this was before instant communication. Everybody had cell phones and all this. And once the assistant left, there was no way to stop him. It says 1979, even with a big network TV production. And the assistant came back and said, yeah, he'll come in. He's like, oh boy, okay. Well, Lennon got up there actually pretty quick. And so he's thinking, well, maybe I can go ahead and get through the Lennon interview, before Reagan gets here, because he was afraid that Reagan would come in and Lennon would see him and go into some political rant live on the air, or that Reagan would walk in and see Lennon and just get mad and storm back out, and it would just ruin something. They wouldn't have this interview that they had already promoted and all that. But Lennon gets in there and they're doing the interview. And he had one more question. Well, right before he ended it, Gifford said he saw out of the corner of his eye Reagan and some of his people come through the door. So he tensed up. He's like, oh boy, here we go. Well, he went ahead and asked one last throwaway question, which was, are you enjoying the game? And Lennon said, yeah, it's interesting. I've never seen American football, and I'm having a little trouble understanding the rules, but it's really interesting. Well, they ended that, went back to the game for a minute, went through the game a little bit, several plays of the game. Then they did the Reagan interview. Well, Reagan was still there. They cut to Gifford interviewing Reagan, and of course Reagan was his usual jovial grandfatherly self and cracking jokes and all this. And they finished up with that and then went back to the game. So everything had gone so well, Gifford just kind of forgot about it. Everything went so smoothly, he forgot about all the trepidation of having them both in the same room, and nothing came of it. And so they went back to the game. After a few minutes, he was like, oh, wait a minute. Did anything happen? Did anybody storm out? Is anybody going to get mad? And he kind of looked around. Of course, it being on television, you can't really tell, but those booths are not that big. So he turned around and he looked and he saw Ronald Reagan standing next to John Lennon, and they were looking out on the field, and Reagan had his arm around him. He was kind of pointing out at the field, talking to him. And he was the only thing that Reagan really heard, or the first thing Reagan heard when he walked in was Lennon say, I'm enjoying the game, but I've never watched American football and don't really understand the rules. And he was, explaining to him what happened on that last play. So he could try and understand the game better and enjoy the game more. And he sat there and said he would kind of watched them and said they were standing there just talking and chatting and laughing, and said if you had no idea who either one of them were, you would have thought they were just old friends. John Lennon, the anti-war protest singing Beatle who claimed the Beatles were more popular than Jesus, standing next to Ronald Reagan, God and country, America, love it or leave it, chatting like old friends. And I guess my thought is, why can't we have more of that? It just seems like today we look for reasons to be angry at someone. And I have friends on both sides of that aisle. I have people that mean something to me on both sides of that aisle. So why can't we have more of that? Why can't we have more of showing some basic respect to each other? I guess maybe I'm just getting a little older. I think we all tend to think that when we were younger it was better. I think this is a time that you can't really argue that fact. When I was younger, you could have people that disagreed on certain things, but you still showed a basic respect for them. And it just seems like those times are going away at a high rate of speed. It reminds me of someone who I saw somewhere. Someone was talking about John Wayne, and of course John Wayne was pretty far to the right. And they made it was an article. I can't, of course, hell anymore. You can, as long as you have an internet connection, you can write an article, quote unquote. And they said something about, well, there was a sign that John Wayne was starting to show a change of opinion toward the end of his career, because you see a clip of him at an award show applauding Jane Fonda. Well, that's just the way things were then. An award show, which it was probably the Oscars or something. Now they've got 500 different award shows. Back then it was pretty much the Oscars, the Emmys, and the Grammys. When they got together for the Oscars, it wasn't a political grandstand. It was actors recognizing actors. And John Wayne could recognize that Jane Fonda was a talented actress, and her politics had nothing to do with it. And it was just you didn't sit there with your arms folded being huffy because they don't agree with me on everything, so I'm not going to applaud. You applauded for someone because it was a nice thing to do. And now today it's, we found this tweet from 2011 that doesn't completely line up with what I agree with, so I'm going to fight to get you fired. I'm sorry, but we need more John Lennons and Ronald Reagans. Can we get back to that? Think that'd be possible? I really kind of doubt it at this point, because there are times that things reach a point that you really don't think you can go back. But anyway, I just wanted to tell that Frank Gifford story, and maybe it'll reach a couple of people that it hadn't reached before. I hope you enjoyed that story. I hope you enjoyed the ride. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Not necessarily in that order. I don't know what the outtake is going to be. I don't really have anything that fits this. We'll get back to nonsense next time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Jeez, that scared the crap out of me. Damn thing scared the crap out of me.